KTNN. I don't know if that's a good way to advertise these commission meetings. But that's my concern, is that there's a lot of missing voices in this room that could offer a lot of insight on how to improve these issues and hear these concerns. So I hope something could be done about that.
KTNN, do you see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just to get to the broader public in the county.
All right. Nicole Perkins?
Hello, Commissioners. Thank you for letting me come and speak before you today. I spoke a few months ago at another meeting, and my hope was that we would be able to speak more and communicate better without having the contention and just keep spinning our wheels and over and creating more and more contention and divide in this county that's already becoming more and more divided. My concern, it's already been addressed, so I'll just shortly touch on that, and then I have a question, is with Mr. Boo's involvement. He comes to this county anticipating to represent you. He's from outside of here, and then he will leave, and we will be demolished as a county, and he will have nothing to pay for his actions. We will be left with the debris or the bomb that's set off, and have to recover, and I have deep concerns for that. My question is, and if you could clarify, Commissioner Gray Eyes, you said that he was pro bono in your case in litigating again when there was the litigation between you and Kelly Laws. I just wanted to clarify if that was true, if I understood that right, that was pro bono. Okay, and then my question is, how can he seek restitution from Kelly Laws to be reimbursed? I think it's like $200,000 or more that they're asking if he was working pro bono. Do you know? I don't know the answer to that. I just didn't know if someone here would know the answer to that.
It wasn't the county.
So he was working.
Business. That was a private.
Right, that was a private thing, and he's asking restitution now, even though it was pro bono.
No, that wasn't.
Not to the county. He's asking restitution from Kelly Laws.
Yeah.
So I was questioning, is that possible to do that? I mean, that's just a question maybe we need to find out.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was all. I appreciate you guys. And the lady that was here before, I think if we want to have meetings outside the county, let's do it. Let's get the state on board, and let's go through the right channels and start that process. And I do have a concern that everybody's voice is harder for them to come and express themselves. That is a concern.
The young lady is correct. The missing voices. That is so true.
That is true.
There's
and
only
there
a few immediate area
right
that are here that.
And growing up in a very rural area, I had to travel an hour and a half.
Yes.
I totally understand that. It's a hardship if you want to participate in sports, anything. You try to find a way to do it, and a lot of parents do, but a lot of other parents weren't able to do it, and children weren't able to participate because of that. So we don't want to disenfranchise anybody.
Yes.
But all of our voices, all the Anglo, all the Native American, all the Ute, all the Spanish, all the atheists and Baptists and Mormons, we all should have a voice at this table. So anyway,
true.
Thank you, and I appreciate your time. Yes.
Thank you very much. That Kelly and I and several of us, we already talked about occasionally, if anything needs to happen or immediate, then we go to the community and have meetings. We're not saying that we should have meetings and meetings and meetings elsewhere.
Okay.
All it is occasional meeting.
An occasional meeting.
A certain issues or needs or incidents that takes place.
And I think if I'm understanding your county attorney correctly, or our county attorney correctly, he's saying he doesn't have a problem with that, but let's get the law passed, which we have to go through state to get that law passed, if I'm understanding that right. So let's do that. And
Well, let's see
that-
how
is that
it
right?
unfolds. And
Okay.
and you're questioning about Steve Bowes.
yes.
Steve Bowes was my attorney back when I would serve on the Navajo Nation Council. Any legislations or anything that takes place, he drafts and we meet occasionally on. So I trust him. I'm sure that you're in a position to where the trusting goes. With the issue with the San Juan County, we lost a lot of money. A lot of money. How do we replenish those?
Well, we
So
definitely not
when-
by continuing
So
litigation.
when he advises us, his advice is way off from what he says. So that's where I'm thinking. And I ask him, he says that he's being transparent, but he's not. You ask him certain things, he doesn't bring that to you. That's the reason why. Then I say, okay, Steve, what can you do to help us? So this is where it's at. And I'm talking to the lady in front of me. Hold on. So that's the reason why. So you asked nicely, and I'm telling you. And if you want,
I
he's in the
just-
room, and I think he can speak for himself.
Oh, I'm sure he can. He can speak for himself. Everybody here can speak for themselves. Anyway, thank you for your.
Thank you.
I just hope that we can do this without litigation, because the only people that lose are the ones that live in this county, where we deplete those funds more and more and create more and more division. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Kelly, can you read the agenda into the record so we can adopt it and make it a working agenda?
So, Community Reinvestment Agency, a resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between the agency and San Juan County relating the tax increment within Bluff Dwellings and Community Reinvestment Project Area, a resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between the agency and the San Juan County Health Service District relating to a tax increment within the Bluff Dwellings Community Reinvestment Project Area, a resolution approving the interlocal cooperation agreement between the agency of San Juan County Water Conservancy District relating to the project, to the tax increment within Bluff Dwellings Community Reinvestment Project Area. And then after we leave the Community Reinvestment Agency, a resolution approving the interlocal cooperation agreement between the county and the Community Reinvestment Agency of San Juan County relating to the tax increment within Bluff Dwellings Community Reinvestment Project Area, a resolution approving an interlocal cooperation agreement between the county and the Community Reinvestment Agency of Blanding relating to the tax increment within the North Entrance Community Reinvestment Project Area. And then just other under me, so.
Okay. Motion to accept the agenda as it is? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, and I second. Before we vote, any deletions or additions to, well, we can't add anything onto it. Okay, any other comments? There be none? The two of you? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a working agenda before us, and,
So now
Committee
we'll come up for
reinvestment.
that.
okay, call her up and see if she can present this resolution.
So we need to make a motion, so you guys are the acting board of the Community Reinvestment Agency, so we need a motion to go into that agency.
Make a motion to go into that reinvestment meeting. Do I have a second?
Oh, you motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, is she on her way?
She's right there.
Question. Executive session. What was the interpretation?
You only have a few certain things to ask for an executive session, legal, or if you're have a personnel issue, or if you're negotiating a contract. So you have to have a specific reason to go into an executive session.
Yeah. And I don't see this as executive. This is a public meeting to me.
Correct.
With everybody here.
Yeah, so we're not in an executive session. You're going into the community reinvestment agency. You're the board of that agency.
It's a different meeting.
Yeah.
So we're not in the commission meeting.
It's part of a commission meeting. Yeah, yeah.
You're in public meeting.
Well, the way I would look at it is to exit the commission meeting and then to go into the reinvestment committee meeting.
And that's why I had you motion, is you guys are now going into a different meeting.
We're still in the commission meeting.
I think Gray Eye is asking that if we could do that, we could exit the commission meeting and go into the reinvestment meeting. So that way, the two don't conflict.
The way it's going is we have two meetings on top of each other.
And you go back in commission.
There may be an explanation for why we have two meetings within inside of each other. The Community Reinvestment Agency is an agency that's separate from the County Commission, but the County Commission acts as that agency's board. So the reason why we have to exit out of the County Commission meeting is because now you're acting as the Community Reinvestment Agency.
Is that the legal opinion?
That's the process for the legal process for it.
We need the legal beagle here.
That is a legal process. That's part of the agency. That's the standard procedure across the state for how it's done.
So then,
so not completely have a different understanding. If the commission meeting is going,
yeah,
you can't call anything while the commission meeting is going, unless you exit.
mm-hmm.
You close that session and then you call a different meeting. And if it's executive meeting or executive session, then why are we having a public here? And we're supposed to be just meeting between us.
It's the Community Reinvestment Agency is still a public session, and you act like it. So it's similar to the Municipal Building Authority. Similarly, you exit
It is
out.
the same. It's the same as a municipal building authority, same as if you guys go into your when you assess values of properties, what's that called, Kendall? The Board of Equalization. You guys are all the chairman. We advertised this as a CRA meeting within the county, so we advertised it. It is a public meeting. It's not an executive meeting. Even if we separated it from the county, it would still be a public meeting. It wouldn't be a closed session meeting. It would be.
Then you can't call it executive.
I'm not calling it an executive. It's nowhere on here is it an executive meeting. And it was advertised as a public meeting.
What do you think?
You're the motioning party, Chick. You can call it to where you can exit the commission and advance right into the investment committee meeting, or just go ahead and invite the investment committee meeting You know
Let's,
that.
let's ask
Right.
Kendall, have we advertised this and done this meeting correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my motion would be to suspend the county commission meeting.
Okay. Okay.
And then do what? I'm just confused. I need to know what was-
Then we would go into, what is it called?
Investment.
Community reinvestment.
Reinvestment.
It needs to be a part of a commission meeting.
Well, I mean, if you want to finish the commission meeting and we hold a separate, is that what you're saying? Let's finish the commission meeting and then do a CR meeting?
No, he's motioning to where he wants to get out of the commission meeting and
Suspend.
go into an investment meeting and go and talk about it. And this is an action item, right?
Correct.
And then we bring it back into a commission.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it's written. So you motioned to go into the Community Reinvestment Agency, and then we'll leave that and come back into the commission meeting. So that's exactly how it's worded.
Yeah, but he wants to get out of the commission because there's two things. We're a commission here, and the investment is a different
Different.
item.
Yeah,
We don't have to set on top of each other. We can act on it as a. Is that what you mean, Willie?
yeah. Then we can direct and say, we want, what is it? Reinvestment, Community Reinvestment Agency meeting to be inclusive into the commission.
I don't know what you're asking, so I apologize, but if you want to do whatever you guys, because we motioned and came out, but you guys,
A lot of the rules with the county is sort of in-house policies, and where we've been, it's always been either Robert Rules of Order or an unway to where it doesn't coincide and nobody gets confused and the community doesn't get confused. That's
so
all.
that's what I'm saying, policy-wise, in-house policy, we have done it this way.
Yeah, I know.
And so now you're saying, let's not do in-house policy, let's do
No,
something
I'm
different.
just simply recommending that's how it's usually done, but it's up to the motion party, however he wants it. It's,
This process is what they do in Salt Lake City, and
Mhm.
at least specifically, I can't speak to other agencies.
Larry?
Can you?
I've done this a few times. If you just recess the commission meeting, convene the reinvestment
Okay.
meeting, then adjourn the reinvestment and reconvene the commission meeting.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That's what's on the agenda.
That's what we've done. That's what we've done.
We just went, continue.
That's what we.
I think his concern is that as a commission, we just continue into investment. And while we're still holding the hat of a commissioner, in this way, we exit the commission or
Just recess.
and then go into the reinvestment, deal with that, and then go back into the commission, and then act on her item.
So maybe your motion then, because you motioned to go into it, maybe motion to stop the commission meeting and go into
Recess.
that.
Yeah, just a recess.
That's similar to,
Motion,
that's what
yeah.
we've done.
Yeah. Larry's correct on the recess situation, so I'll go and motion to recess out of the commission meeting.
Okay. Willie motions to get out of the commission and recess for the investment, so you make a motion, I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, ma'am, we move
No,
into,
not that.
Okay.
One more motion.
make a motion.
Now, we go into community investment meeting. Since
Second.
with the board,
Mm-hmm.
that will open the door for you, presentation.
On the agenda, I don't have a presentation. It's just discussing the 3 resolutions.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
when we
Okay,
act on it,
motion
you
is
can.
Motion is started.
Okay, second.
Yeah, all right.
All those in favor, yeah. All right.
Now we're in the community reinvestment meeting.
It's all yours.
Well, your meeting. So the
No, we recessed the commission meeting. Now it's yours.
you're the board though
Yeah.
for the
Mhm.
agency, so
Yes.
it's not mine. But on your agenda you have 3 resolutions, and the resolutions are just to work on entering into interlocal agreements with the San Juan County Commission, with the Health Service District, and with the San Juan Water Conservancy District. So those are the 3 resolutions. I don't know if there's any specific questions on those.
Commissioner Gray Eyes, any questions, or would you like to proceed in motioning to support the resolutions?
Have, it's all bluff welding.
So the
How much of this has input has been come in from the Bluff,
So
city of Bluff?
we had public hearings for the process for the reinvestment agency is that we had public hearings initially to discuss the project, and then we also had, was it another public hearing also to discuss interlocal agreements? They all happened last year. So we haven't had any of those meetings this year currently, so we're just trying to complete the process.
Where's their support?
So CRAs, you have to go get all taxing entities and get approval. So Bluff is decided not to do it. So Bluff is excluded, which is fine. Their tax dollars won't be affected. So San Juan County, the Water Conservancy District, and the Health Service District have all agreed to, with their portion of the property tax, is to invest in this agency. So Bluff has said, we don't want to support it, so we're not gonna do an agreement, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
The school district decided not to do it, which is fine. So these are just 3 agencies that have said, yes, we'll support the CRA dwelling. So it doesn't affect Bluff's taxes, it doesn't affect the school district's taxes. All it is taking, say that, I'm just throwing numbers out there, this, say $100,000 is generated in property tax between all agencies. Say San Juan County's portion is $20,000. We would use a portion of that property tax, say 75% or 50%, and we would earmark it to like a specific need, like a sewer line or a water line or a turn lane. So you're just earmarking a certain percentage of the property tax for a specific reason in that project. It's hard for big companies to come in and have to build a turn lane. So we're building these agencies to say, we're going to earmark some of that tax dollars that you would have brought in when you build it, and we'll help you build that turn lane or that infrastructure needed for this development to come in. And not every agency has to participate, and that's what they've chosen not to.
Okay.
But San Juan County, the Health District, Water Conservancy District said, hey, that sounds like a good plan, let's do it. Because right now, like in the Blanding project, all it is raw land. We're probably getting $500 of property tax. When the project comes in, we might get $50,000. So it helps you try to bring in some businesses and use some of that tax dollars to help them with some of the infrastructure, because they wouldn't come without our tax dollars helping them with that project. So that's kind of
Yeah,
it in a
okay.
nutshell.
And the
Just to
public
mention-
hearings that were held were in Bluff.
What? Say that
The
again.
public hearings that took place were all in Bluff, right?
I don't know.
No, the public hearing was in Monticello when it took place.
But like I said,
It was within the
Bluff
commission meetings.
already said no, they don't want to participate and they're not using their tax dollars to participate. So we're not forcing them to do
You know,
it.
from the future on, I think it's best that you meet with the impacted people or the community. And just like we said, those of us that get to be here almost every meeting are the only one here. But there's other people out there that are not participating because they don't want to come to Monticello. And that's one of the reasons why these meetings should be held in different places. So please, next time, if you're going to be doing any development or anywhere nearby, contact the people. And I think that would be, I would feel more comfortable that way than just trying to hammer away behind somebody's yard and start building something and tell them that you don't get anything from whatever this building's making or whatever. So
I don't think that they're not getting anything. They're still benefiting, I
Yeah.
guess, from it.
yeah,
But we sent out letters to all of the taxing entities, so Bluff City was included in that, and Bluff Service Area District was included in that. So we did, in regards to the public hearing, we did reach out to the community, and they did attend the public hearing in Monticello, and that's when the service area said that they weren't interested in participating in a tax incremental financing program, which is what the CRA is. So that's why they aren't on the list as far as a participating
okay.
group.
Why did school opt out?
I don't know. I can't speak for them other than they just, I mean, maybe you can.
Part of it was in part to understanding an economic development strategy, and it's a newer concept to them as far as a school district getting involved in economic development. And so they just need additional time to further understand what tax incremental financing means to them and how they mandate the education taxes, and if it's a tool that will fit within their programs. At this point, they don't. That's where they came back and they just said it doesn't seem like it's a tool that fits currently.
We also held that CRA meeting that you attended where the board came at the school district in Blanding and invited all the taxing entities to that as well.
And
So,
Bluff was in attendance there
yeah.
as well.
Okay. Any more questions, Commissioners? If not, get out of the Community Investment
Okay.
Agency
Motion.
motion.
Just the resolutions, if you have,
Did you have votes?
if you want to vote on those resolutions or not.
Exit.
We will.
So they will, they have to
Yeah.
exit first.
Well, first
So,
the CRA
second.
needs to vote on the resolutions, and then once they exit, then as a county commission,
Oh,
they
I see
vote
what
with
you're
the
saying.
CRA.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and the investment committee,
The investment
we
committee
need
needs
to vote on these items. Before I call for a motion, as I said before, make sure that the impacted community is aware of what's going on and what's going to happen. It's like me going to Blanding and not telling everybody and putting up an amusement park where I can make tons of money with it and not share with anybody else, and it shouldn't be that way. So in the future, talk about that. I know some of them are opposing to this and some of them are not. And the public hearing needs to take place in the impacted area.
Correct.
So with that, motion by,
And it seems like we're on two different road systems. So we're going to community to do this. It's already going. The project's already there, under construction, and the community or the city doesn't want it to participate. Where does the county legally, what is our position going to be?
And that's why we have the agency as the county to make that decision. As the county commission, you act as that agency to decide if that is your opinion. My role in it is just to provide you with all of the facts and figures, which we've done in previous commission meetings, of what the projects look like, the outline of the projects, and to provide an overview of the projects. But it's ultimately the decision of you as the Community Reinvestment Agency board to make that decision.
So the county's the only entity that's in charge of CRAs. It's
And blending city.
And cities.
Correct.
Her job is to bring jobs to our county. So she's doing her job to help promote a new hotel or whatever it takes. And that's why she's bringing it to you. Do we want, she's doing her job as an economic development director is to find jobs. And one avenue is to do some tax incentives to help bring in these jobs. Yes, Bluff Dwellings is started. I don't think they can have all the rooms that they want without a turn lane being built into their thing. So they have a certain amount of rooms that they can open, and then more rooms can be opened if a turn lane is built. And that's why he's seeking that. Landing has a different project. But again, Natalie's role of the county, and we want you to bring jobs to our county. This is one of the avenues that she's coming to you and getting your support on. So,
Which is good. I appreciate that. Economic development is needed. And to develop these things, I think there's a proper way of doing it. And there's always going to be a wrong way of doing it. But your job to do that is you're expediting things to make sure that these take place. But always remember that there's a person that lives there or eats there or stays there has to have some kind of a comment before you develop something. Otherwise you're infringing on it.
And I'm not trying to expedite this process in any way. I've taken a few months back to wait through and to see to give you the time to look at the projects and to see if it's something that you feel falls within the interest of the county commission and within the interest of the Community Investment Agency. I feel from my end as an economic development director, I bring forth the opportunity. If there's an opportunity in an area, we can assist them as best we can, but we have to also bring it to the public as well, and that's what we've done with the CRA. We've had those public meetings, and it is a project. I mean, Bluff Dwellings is a project that's split amongst Bluff right now. There's half of Bluff that agrees with it, and then there's another half of Bluff that doesn't agree with it. I don't know what
the other point that I'm interested in is for those that are existing business that have been there, how would it be impacted by this new
property coming in?
Development?
And that's something that we see. That's the big question is, if we bring in a new development, either if it's the Bluff Dwellings project or if it's the Blanding North End project, it does introduce competition to the economy. But what we've seen too is there's a demand within our economy. There's a need for additional rooms. One of the directives we've had is to grow the tourism economy, to market tourism. These two projects fall within those specific industries, and there's a need for increased rooms. If trade shows that I attend or questions that we receive of, do you have additional rooms? We need more rooms. We have the numbers that are coming through, I think, with one of the reports from Jerry with the BLM. Maybe clarify your question by what you mean regulate the cost of rooms.
Well, noticeably, obviously the impacts on opportunities can be increased for those that might end up in Bluff and the whole motels are occupied to the max. They come to Blaine or Montecito. Now, if the pricing of the room is, let's say, $80 or $100, would it, by possibly increasing the more opportunity, adding more rooms available, new development, would it lower that $100 rate?
So the hard thing with that is, from my, at least the role that I sit in right now, it's from a public stance, and so the question you're bringing up really starts to involve the private sector more so. I can make some projections of what that might do, but it's not really in my realm to make that.
Yeah, it's not your role to. It's not her role to.
Analysis to analyze. Okay.
I think overall, though, what you can look at from new development coming in, and I know there's the fear of new development and the fear of becoming another Moab and the fear of that uncontrolled growth that might happen, but with proper planning, which is what we're trying to do as a county, we can implement proper planning, and if we can implement a strategy in how we want to move forward with economic development where we're getting the buy-in of the communities, overall any new development helps existing businesses as well as new businesses come in. But it's all with proper planning. So,
What do you want to do, Commissioner?
The one thing that the opportunity to bring this issue to the impact area, immediate impact area, is absent. Why did they reject it? That's what I want to know.
why
So I have a question in terms of how would they feel today? These were, as I understand, about a year ago, public hearing.
It was probably it was the end of last year that we had the public hearing. I should have written down the dates. Sorry, I don't have the dates in front of me.
And each entity's been properly notified of the CRA, and each one have made their own decisions on what they wanted to do.
And that's how the community reinvestment agency works. Each entity can make their own decisions. So again, there isn't any. The county can make their own decision. Bluff has the authority to make their own decision. Blanding City, since they have a CRA, they go through a slightly different process than we do, and that's why they're not in our current CRA meeting. We would be entering into an interlocal as a county with Blanding CRA. Different process.
Is that, do you want to handle it all? 1, 2, 3?
As soon as we get out of the investment, and I think she wants to go into the level community reinvestment agency meeting as well, right?
Yeah, so we have to stay in the meeting we're currently in for you to decide on the resolutions.
Move to approve.
Yeah. So
I move.
you move to get out of the reinvestment meeting?
Approve these first before we get out of the meeting.
Okay, motion's been made to approve item 1, 2, and 3 of the 3 resolutions, which are approving the interlocal cooperation agreement between the agency, and the other one's a resolution approving the interlocal cooperation agreement between the agency. And the third one is, of course, resolution approving the interlocal cooperation agreement agency, San Juan County Water Services. So those are the three that he likes to make a motion, and I will second that motion. And all those in favor? Aye.
And then now you exit out of this and go back into the county.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a motion to get out of
to
there.
exit.
And exit. Okay, motion has been made to exit. I will second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we shall reconvene in the county commission. And county commission, for the record, we just passed 3 resolutions from the reinvestment commission agency. The 3 that I previously read. So what now we go into a community reinvestment agency meeting, right?
No, now we stay in the county commission meeting, but we're now discussing the community reinvestment agency meeting.
Well, let's start with item 1.
So the item 1 is, it's the exact same resolution that you entered in your CRA, in your community reinvestment agency. Now you're just entering into that same resolution as a county commission. So you would pass a similar motion that you made in the CRA. And then, so that's item 1. Item 2 is entering into an interlocal agreement with Blanding City and their community reinvestment agency in regards to the Blanding North project, which they've already approved on their end as a community. That's the hard thing. Maybe just 1 minute too about it is the buy-in that you're seeing from Blanding City. The reason why that's happening is because they have their own community reinvestment agency. When we created the community reinvestment agency, cities have the opportunity to create one. At this point, Monticello City has decided not to, and Bluff City decided not to. And so as a county, our agency is an umbrella for everyone else except for Blanding City. So I don't know if that helps with any of that clarity as well.
We understand.
Yeah.
When do you plan on doing that, or have you already met with the city of Blanding?
So Blanding City has already met. They've already moved forward on entering into. Well, did you enter into interlocal on your end for the?
We've had public hearings in Blanding. Sorry,
Yeah.
Jeremy Red from Blanding City. We've had public hearings in Blanding. The city council's been unanimously supportive of the idea. So we would hope that the commission would join us. It's a great tax creator, job creator for the county, and we feel like this project is going to serve a need that isn't currently being filled anywhere in the county. So we appreciate your support if you could.
Okay. All right.
So moved.
Which one?
Stop.
You want a motion on
Yeah.
both of them?
Yeah.
Commissioner
It's
Gray
same,
like
same thing. The
Mhm.
first one.
like to make a motion to acknowledge both of them for support. So I will second that. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Kelly.
I just have a couple things. Commissioner Scott Burton from the Planning and Zoning brought this to me. I guess we already approved this in a past commission, and
Yeah.
the address was wrong on that one, so they just need it re-signed from you, Commissioner Merrick. Let me give you the right pens.
Give me the magic pen.
I think you just need to do this one. There's 2, but we just need 1 signature there.
Okay.
And then I told Commissioner Gray Eyes that UAC is next week, the 9th, 10th, and 10th, 11th, and 12th. So when I get the agenda, I will let you know.
Okay.
I've had a plan, but
Where's that gonna be at?
it's in Provo at the Marriott, the one with the big conference center
Oh,
connected.
yeah.
So I've got rooms and stuff already for that. So, but that's oh, sorry, and Pat Smith. Yep, sorry. Pat had a new board member apply, and we wanted to get her approved.
Yeah, I brought you copies of the letter of interest from Lucille Cody, who was kind of elected through the Anna chapter to represent Montezuma Creek and that surrounding area at the library board, or on the library board. It's a 4-year stint that she'll be doing, and all the other board members are totally on board with her becoming our next board member. So we just need to have it approved by the commission. So I think she'll be a real asset for the board.
Lucille Cody.
I believe
Where's
she lives
she?
in Montezuma Creek. Yeah.
Who is it?
Do you have
What
the
do we
other?
do? By resolution or?
No,
no, you
this
just-
board,
no.
you guys just appoint board members. They've had an opening for a while,
Yeah.
haven't you?
Very long while.
Chapter recommended her, and it came before us today in Chicodo. We just acknowledged that.
So,
We need to do
A motion
by,
to,
by resolution.
we haven't done them by it's just you guys motion.
yeah,
to approve
motion
them.
to approve it. Yeah, basically.
But we're all saying, write it up, put it in writing.
Write up some kind of a form acknowledging that we appointing Lucille for the record.
Oh, is that how?
Yes,
never-
I would like to see that
Okay,
type of.
okay, I can send that to you. So, okay,
Then you can show to
Lucille, yes.
Lucille, here's a county commission's resolution appointed you officially.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's just a verbal.
So I send them letters after you guys, a motion to approve them.
Right,
So I send all board members a letter thanking them for being on the board, so.
and it'll be in the minutes for the commission meeting as well, so it's official.
Okay. Do you motion?
Reluctantly.
All right, well, I'll second that reluctant motion then. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Kelly?
No. So,
Commissioners report.
Oh, okay.
Willie?
Where did I go? Went to 7 County retreat. Made some input on it. I was talking about the Navajo Mountain or Chateau route. Gave the document to them in Price last week. And we have the request come through last month. What did they call it? Navajo Utah Commission
Mm-hmm.
requested a report from you and I. I went over there to Window Rock, gave them,
Give him an earful, huh?
yeah. And that was on the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So, other than that, it's just chapter and the only concern I have is when we're going to execute the agreement between INDOT and San Juan County. As I understood from the county that you secured, what is it, 7 graders
6?
6.
That's the one that was in Montezuma Creek.
And looking at the picture, the front one is the county's equipment. And the next 5 are INDOT equipment. And they all help us, I guess. So I was of the understanding that all 6 of them were county-owned equipment, but nevertheless it was sort of, I misunderstood. Other than that, it's just trying to get over a cold. That's about it.
Okay. Good report. I've been the soil and conservation from the Navajo Nation site is thinking about putting out some fundings to establish some of those ponds. Since with the generous of rain that we've been getting, so they want to put those dikes back up in places. So yesterday I took a drove up to near the cliffs right over St. Christopher. There were some real nice looking ponds that whoever worked on it, we just set them all over the place, and they're pretty full. Cows and animals were out there. And we've been trying to find out who can do a good job like that for some of those old ponds that we used to have on the reservation. So did you?
So I pulled a map, and I need you to show me. So the Christopher Mission owns private land up over the rim. Is it directly north of them?
Yeah.
So it would have been on their private land.
It's further, right? Next to it.
So
it's kind of
I pulled a map, so come show me.
Okay. Okay. And then also met with the Shiprock Northern Navajo Nation Fair Board to they're talking about reestablishing the Utah Navajo Fair in some way, and maybe use some of the staffs to get that going again. So I've been to Shiprock, and I will be meeting with some tribal councils as well on other matters. That police officer, public safety committee, I'm going to be meeting them, and health and social services, I'll be meeting with them as well on the Utah Navajo health system and some other areas. Other than that, I haven't been traveling, been staying around with all the scrutiny and everything, so I just decided to stay around until that clears. Maybe that can start making some meetings elsewhere with the rest of the committee. So I'll be around the rest of the week, and tomorrow is my planning meeting, and Sunday is my chapter meeting, and I plan to stay around for that. So that's the extent of my report. And do we have any closed session meeting? If not, I stand for adjournment.
I think you can do that as the chair.
I can do that if you allow me to. A motion to adjourn.
We exhausted the agenda, so.
So you're going to second
And you doing it? The chair, when the chair closes
it? All right.
the meeting, then that's it.
That is it. Thank you very much for coming around, attending our meeting, and we will reconvene again the next commissioner meeting. Chapter meeting. Oh, I need to sign these. These signed that evening, each check. Oh, okay, yeah. payment and representatives. Yeah, believe me, it's not a big, I didn't